So after an extremely impressive 1-0 win over Manchester City in midweek, Aston Villa find themselves right in the middle of a title race as we approach the halfway point of the Premier League season. The question is, how has Unai Emery got them into this position, and what is the football that they are playing, what are the tactics and the structures that they use? Well, let's take a look. So on paper, Aston Villa set up in a 4-4-2 formation, however it is far from traditional. In a 4-4-2 formation you would expect wingers which are going to be flying high and wide down the outside of the pitch. However, with Aston Villa it simply isn't the case. Instead they will look to build the ball out from the back. The two centre-backs will split like this, either side of the goalkeeper, and Martinez's ball-playing game has really stepped up since Unai Emery came into the club. From here, the two fullbacks are given a licence to push a little bit further forward, and then our two wingers, Zaniolo and John McGinn, are actually two central midfielders, and they will come into really narrow positions to overload the centre of the pitch, and that's really reflected in John McGinn's heat map so far in the Premier League this season. You can see just how narrow he is moving. This is not the heat map of a traditional winger. And of course the benefit of this is that Aston Villa are able to overload the centre of the park and always have the spare man. And this is the real conundrum it creates for the opposition in these areas. If I'm John McGinn in this position here and I come inside, I can clearly outnumber the opposition. When most teams press in a 4-3-3 like this, we can see that it allows Aston Villa to get McGinn and Zaniolo in the pockets of space. Now you might sit here and say, well surely the opposition fullback can just come really tight on McGinn and stop that overload in the centre. Yes, technically the fullback could do that, but if you do that you actually just create an even worse problem for yourself. And that is the fact that you are now leaving the channel open for Ollie Watkins to spin into. And Ollie Watkins has been one of the most impressive strikers in the Premier League this season. And it's his technical ability, but also physical ability to get into these channels of space and really trouble defenders. So as a result of that threat, we'll often see the opposition fullback sit a little bit deeper because they're scared of Ollie Watkins. However, of course, the consequence of that is now John McGinn finds himself with time and space in the midfield because once again Aston Villa have overloaded the centre of the park, with this midfield box of 4 players outnumbering most midfield threes. The same can also happen down the other side of the pitch as well. Zaniolo will come inside and ask the question of the fullback. If the fullback comes in tight and aggressive, Diaby has lots of space to operate in. Formerly playing as a right winger for Bayer Leverkusen, he is more than comfortable picking the ball up in these wide areas and dribbling with the ball at his feet, being fast and direct attacking the defender. So once again, the fullback will often sit a little bit deeper, leaving Aston Villa with the potential to overload the midfield and really take control of the game. However, that isn't the only way that Aston Villa play, and they have a multitude of styles. For example, this front two also means that at times they can be incredibly direct. Having Ollie Watkins and then someone like Diaby to get on the second ball gives you a really good option to completely bypass the opposition midfield, go long and get on the second ball. We've got Diaby in this area, but also 4 central midfielders looking to get on that second ball, giving Aston Villa that real bite and grit in the midfield, meaning that they can overturn possession and now get on the second ball and play forward, and again be dangerous in these transitioning situations. They also have different structures for more sustained possession as well. For example, we can see a fullback flying forward to join the attack. Let's say Digne will fly forward down the left-hand side, John McGinn will come inside, Diaby will move deeper into this space, Zaniolo will now move a little bit wider, and will perform a back 3, with Pau Torres being an incredibly good ball-playing defender, Carlos at the centre, and then the right-back will tuck in. In recent weeks, this has been Ezri Konsa, so it's worked even better, and it allows them to create this 3-2-5 shape. And I really want to quickly highlight the two in this shape. Douglas Luiz and Boubacar Kamara, 2 of the most underrated players in the Premier League in my opinion, and 2 of the best midfielders. 2 midfielders that deserve to be playing European football week in, week out. Who knows, next season they might be with Villa at the highest level. They're 2 brilliant midfielders, so good on the ball, and they just keep the ball really, really simple. But then out of possession, the ground they cover, the tackles they put in, they are absolutely key to this side. Someone like Diaby might steal the headlines and Ollie Watkins, but trust me, these are the 2 which really provide the foundation for an excellent attacking outfit. This front 5 overloads most teams' defences, as we always see in the Premier League. The front 5 against the back 4 is an extremely advantageous situation for the attacking side, because it means you always have someone spare. And this means that Aston Villa are brilliant at working the ball towards the byline from where we see these cutbacks into the penalty area. And what Villa do really well is they get lots of players in the box attacking that ball and therefore scoring a lot of goals. The second highest scorers in the Premier League with 34 goals so far. Manchester City the only team above them with 36. So Unai Emery clearly has a brilliant possession structure here and a really good attacking side. But also, he's got himself a very good defensive side. although again a bit like their possession game, it perhaps doesn't always play out like you would expect it to. So out of possession, Aston Villa will line up in this 4-4-2 formation once again, and they will be nice and compact. Nothing particularly unusual about that. However, the unusual side of their game is that they play a ridiculously high line at times. Sometimes they squeeze this back four incredibly high up the pitch, so high up the pitch that I can't really show it on this tactical board because it's going to make the pitch too crowded. They squeeze that back line incredibly high and leave a lot of space in behind, which Emery Martinez is often able to cover. However, when we talk about a side being, playing with a high line, we expect a lot of pressure on the ball. We expect a high pressing side. But that is not the case for Aston Villa, and it almost couldn't be further from the truth. This is really backed up by the fact that they rank 16th for high turnovers in the Premier League this season, with just 106. So they're a side that play an incredibly high line at the back, but then the forwards don't apply pressure on the ball. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, right? But no, Aston Villa are the best team by a mile in the Premier League at catching teams offside. No one gets even close to them. So that's really, really a big compliment, I guess, to Unai Emery and the defensive structure he's got working at this club. The players are buying into his defensive approach, and it's working really well. So what is the defensive approach? Because it isn't just a high line and a forward line which drops off. It's a bit more than that. Basically, what Aston Villa want the opposition to do is play low percentage passes. So let's say the ball will go wide like this. McGinn will get over. They'll shuffle over, and basically what they're trying to bait you into doing is going into the middle of the pitch. Once you've gone into the middle of the pitch, they will then nick the ball and counter-attack once again and be nice and fast and direct. This is also reflected by the fact that at times they will shift to more of a diamond out of possession. Douglas Luiz will step to the tip of the diamond, the two wide midfielders will come inside like this, and again what they're asking you to do is play the ball, the risky pass into midfield, the low percentage pass, the pass which most of the time isn't really going to come off, allowing Villa once again to nick the ball, overturn possession and hurt you. You can of course go to the fullback, I guess, if you're the opposition, but Aston Villa have a lot of hard-working players in their midfield. McGinn can get across, and now it just shuffles into more of a basic 4-4-2. It's really very clever, and it stops teams playing through them. This basically leaves the opposition with that long ball over the top, and as we've seen already, Aston Villa are incredibly good at applying their high line. They catch most teams offside, and again, they're forcing the opposition to play a low percentage pass. A pass which 9 times out of 10 isn't actually going to find a teammate, and this is how Aston Villa keep the opposition so far away from their own goal without really ever applying pressure to the ball. It's super impressive from Unai Emery. It's a very high risk, high reward system, I think is probably the best way to describe it. I think that's really what Unai Emery is going for here. He's not going for a compact low defence. He's not going for a super aggressive approach. It's a hybrid out of possession structure. Sometimes it's going to work really well and you're going to blow away a team like Brighton, which, not many teams are able to do. Another week against a Liverpool or a Newcastle, it's going to go horribly wrong and you will concede a lot of goals. The important thing though is that no matter what the result seems to be, the Aston Villa players really buy into what Unai Emery is asking them to do. And that is a massive, massive thing for a manager. When you're a good manager with a good possession structure and a good out of possession idea, combined with a lot of good footballers, genuinely good footballers. Emery Martinez is a very good goalkeeper. Pau Torres is an excellent ball-playing defender. Boubacar Kamara, Douglas Luiz, Moussa Diaby, Ollie Watkins, these are all very good players. But when they're buying into his ideas as well and running through brick walls for him just 12 months into the job, you've got yourself a lovely little combination. And a combination which finds itself in the title race. Can they go on to win a title race? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, while you're down in the comments, let me know which player you think is the most important for Aston Villa. Is it Ollie Watkins for the goals he scores? Is it Moussa Diaby for that bit of flair and dribbling ability? Is it the work rate of John McGinn, the passing of Douglas Luiz, the defensive ability of Boubacar Kamara, or the goalkeeping of Emery Martinez? Let me know who you think is their most important player. And also perhaps let me know some weaknesses in the side, some areas they could be targeted. And actually, lastly, on top of that, also let me know some players you would like to see them maybe recruit in January or next summer. And then finally, give me a prediction on where you think they will finish in the Premier League this season. Can they really go and win the title? Is top 4 what they should be aiming for? Top 6? Let me know what you think while you're in the comments. And also subscribe to the channel, get notifications on, all of that good stuff, because we are finished for today's video. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.